How's it going, internets? I hope you're having a lovely day. It's that time again. It's time to get into some animation, time to get that imagination all cranked up, get into some creativity, and it's time to get inspired. And today's inspiration comes from Ivan Punchatz. He is a wonderful artist, really has this kind of surreal, really a unique sense of his composition and the thematic way that he presents it. It's really interesting. Let's go. He also did some really cool Dracula and Wolfman and Mummy and all of those great Universal Monsters series as well. But I wanted to show. Let's see if we can get this going here. There we go. Okay. Just the really creative and it's like a mix of sci-fi and like 60s or 70s acid culture illustration. I just love his style. It's very unique. Just check out this piece. It's got its multiple heads splitting open with the snake coming out of it and a dove coming out of it. Like I said, it's just very infused, I feel, with his own personality in there. You see that he's mastered the fundamentals. He understands lighting and composition and structure, and he knows the form. He has posing down. He knows the facial structures, but then adds his own personality and his own creative aspects behind that. So really just gorgeous stuff. And the one that probably everybody in this generation probably knows him for most is his Doom cover art. A great piece here for sure. Really love that posing there. This guy in the back looking there. Overall, it's just a really nice piece. Now, I like how he also nodded to this character looking back, kind of breaking that fourth wall in the painting as well. Very interesting choices here for sure. And this one was really cool because I thought it's interesting. His stuff is one of those. He's one of those artists that really makes you pause to kind of think through his work. Not because you're trying to understand really what it is, but rather what is he trying to say with this piece. And where you have this robot that's decaying, and then out of it is growing a new plant, which has like the soul of a human or the head of a human on top of it. It's really interesting to think about. Just a wonderful, wonderful artist. This one was really just kind of captures that 80s and 90s sci-fi bright colors style art. Almost reminds me of playing Galaga or Space Harry or something. Just wonderful styling there. So definitely check out more from him. I'll throw a link in the description below if you guys want to see some more. But I did want to share a quote that I was able to find, and this was from a student who said that this is what he said to them that always stuck. And he said, "Never, no matter what it is, take anything personally." I think that's a great quote for life, and also for anyone who's in sort of the imaginative or creative worlds. I think we get really attached to our work, even if you don't want to. I tend to be very critical of all my work. Although I get somewhat attached to it, I'm always looking for things that I could fix or improve on it. So I tend to not feel that way like I used to. There was a time back, I think it was 2011 or so, when I was kind of just starting to do this as more than just a hobby, but kind of developing a lifestyle. And I had probably 30-40 sketchbooks just full of drawings as I was learning and growing and doing that thing that you're supposed to do where you keep a sketchbook. And we're moving from place to place, and so I had a bunch of that stuff in storage, and life happens, and all that stuff was destroyed and ruined. And that really, I think in hindsight, was a good thing, because I kind of disconnected a little bit. I did stop drawing and animating for a little while after that, because it was really frustrating and hard, and there were other life things and stuff. But I think when I kind of came back to it after a couple of months or so, which I would never suggest to do, don't ever stop. There's a lot of other things in my life too. But it was good, because I think now that I'm at this point in my life, I've been through that really hard, loving all your stuff and thinking it's precious and having all this and then having it ripped from you, like, makes you learn that nothing's permanent, nothing's, gonna be there forever. Also, I'm very adamant on saving things where you can, or doing things digitally as well now, just so you can have a backup. Well, all being said, I have a bunch of sketchbooks over here too. But I think that's a good thing to go through. It's a hard thing, but I think it's a good thing. And if you guys can avoid something like that, I hope you do, because that was tough for me. But just learn to not love yourself so much that you can't improve on it. And when people talk to you, know that they're coming from a different place than you are. So don't try to take things personally, but try and grow from advice or criticisms or any of that kind of stuff. And that's a more, I don't know if it's philosophical or spiritual, but a more personal kind of discussion about the art of being a creative person versus the creation itself. So try and keep that in mind. I think you guys are great. I think you're wonderful. I know that you can do it. So just have that extra dose of confidence, and don't take anything that's negative too personally, because it's coming from someone else and you don't know what they're going through or what they've seen or what they haven't and stuff too. So let's go ahead and get into some animation. I'm getting rambly this morning. We're continuing on with our pipe slide animation, and we are using the Goon rig that comes from the How to Cheat in Maya series. I'll throw a link in the description below if you guys want to check that out. It's a great book, has some fun little tips and stuff, but the rigs that you get along with it are just top notch. I really like them. The price of entry for them is pretty low. You don't have to pay for a whole school to go get them, and I think they're pretty reliable rigs, so that's what I try to use. I do, if you look through my history of videos, I have tons of free rigs that you guys can get if you're just looking to start out as well. And Animation Mentor is a wonderful school, and they have some great rigs there. I've heard great things about iAnimate and Anim School as well, which also has some really top-notch rigs from the free ones and stuff that I've played around with from there as well. But I'm getting off on a weird tangent about rigs, so let's get into some animation. Let's check out where we left off from yesterday and see what we want to attack for today. Okay, I think the arms are a little too busy for me, and I think that facial poses are a little slidey in the beginning. So I think that's where I really want to start there. So let's go ahead and get that started then. Go ahead and save our file here real quick. Just gonna pause the video. Okay. And remember to save multiple versions and to save often, and we are using the wonderful Autodesk Maya 2014 for today's video. For more information on that and all the stuff we've talked about, check out the links down below. So let's get started with toning down these arms. So I think just what I'm going to really do for these beginning moves is just kind of tweak everything back about 10% from where it is. And I think I'll keep that jump bigger. And this one will tone down those first few moves up until about here. So we're just taking our graph here and we're just pulling it down a little bit, still keeping the same idea here, just a little bit less throughout. And same there. Bring that back a little bit more. That as well. And this one just feel a little too busy. And the hand here as well. To look and see if we need to tweak any of this stuff anymore further beyond this, which I'm sure we will, but let's go ahead and look at that again. Feels a little better. See, we kept pretty much everything we had, we just toned it down a little bit, and I think that's a little bit better than what we had before. I think even this move here could be even more toned down as well. I think the beginning feels okay, but the second part could probably be We still want to keep, you know, strong posing and everything throughout, so I don't want to lose any of our poses, but just tone it down a little bit more here. Look at our wrists here. Bring those back a little bit more. This one. Okay, now let's go ahead and look at that now. Yeah, that feels better to me. And I think this stuff here could hit. Let's just start here. Guess we'll do each one here. Just have that hit about a frame sooner. Just feels like it's a little slow. And this one too. So let's look there. Yeah. We don't need to go in so far. Right around here on this arm, it goes out and then it goes in, like right about here. That feels like that's too much. So I think it's probably forearm there. You can still have a little bit of that. Then it kind of feels like it hits a wall there. What is that? Let's go and check it out again. Maybe we'll do a little bit less in the actual arm there. So you have a little bit of a nicer curve, so it doesn't feel like it hits so hard. Maybe have that hit about 88 instead, so a couple of frames later. Trying to polish up that move, it just felt a little bit harsh there. That feels a little better. I also think this hangs out too much here. So let's drag it down a little bit more here. Still go that way. Go in a little bit there. Let's watch that now. Feels better. I think right about 83. We should probably have it be out a little more. Let's try and polish that out a little bit better here too. Let's get rid of that curve. does still feel like it kind of hits this like invisible wall here. Oh, let's go undo that. Like this should be in there. Feels better. Just kind of blends those moves from where we have there to being into there. Let's see. Alright, I think that's a okay pass on fixing up those arms a little bit more, so go ahead and save our file and let's get back into doing some stuff with the face. So let's switch back here to look at perspective 1 so we can get a little bit closer into the facial expressions here. Let's look at this mouth. Close it up a little bit more here. Close it up there. Let's keep it closed. We'll go beyond that pose a little bit more. Let's try and keep those lips closer together here. So, let's see. So that it kind of peels open. So it's not only opening this way, but the lips are peeling it open. Try and make that open a little bit more interesting. Now let's look at this eye here. Let's go ahead and raise it up a little bit just so you can see those pupils right there. Move it a little bit more. Yeah, let's get the eyebrows here. eyebrows here. Get in there a little bit more. Make sure we're just selecting the stuff that we want, so we're not keying anything we don't need to. Keep those eyes closed a little bit longer too over there. That's fine. I think we want to close the eyes a little bit here on the impact. And just sort of like bracing itself. Let's keep them open here. And just do a quick lamp shot as he hits for the to like brace for the impact. Too much lower lid there, maybe. Keep them closed for one more frame here. Go ahead and set it here. Let's see. Yeah, let's look at the eyebrows, make sure kind of acting in conjunction with the eyes. Set back a couple of frames so we can actually look there. So I'd want them to go down here. And back up a little bit there. Let's keep the mouth open a little bit more. And back open a little bit so we get that little bit of bounce in there too. So it stays open, shuts, but not hitting at the same time as the eyes there. Maybe we could do this real kind of squashed face right here. That's fine. Okay, we're just trying to break up the stuff in the face so it doesn't feel so much like it's hitting pose, slide into pose, slide into pose, or hitting some beats. So let's go ahead and look at our actual camera here, and let's start looking at that face. Don't really have anything interesting going on in the face here. Let's do like a little bit of asymmetry in the face here. This eyebrow. About here. I'll go ahead and raise that up a little bit more. This eyeball. I'll go ahead and go a little bit more here. Let's get this one and go to about here. I'll go ahead and bring that down a little bit more. This one down, just so you get that little bit of asymmetry in the face, get something going on there. Bring the mouth down a little bit. Let's do a closed mouth and then open again. Get a little bit of ease into that facial pose a little bit more. Let's switch back to our camera that we're looking through, and let's see if we broke that face up a little bit more. Alright, like I said, it's pretty quick, so we don't have to do, we're not going to do a ton, we don't want everything going, but just so we hit a couple like kind of expressions there and have a little more interesting breakdowns between them, I think that pretty achieved. For what we've got. If it was something that I was putting on a reel, I'd definitely go through and really want to polish that up quite a bit more, but I think we hit some of those points there. So let's go ahead and take a look at the toes. I don't think we've really done too much there with the toes, and I think there's an opportunity that we could play with those here. So let's just look at the toe here. There's any places like here where we could do a little bit. Tweaking here. Maybe we don't, it's not so much in the toe. to just key that on ones there. There's a little bit of a funky rotation there. It is pretty quick though, so let's do a little bit of toe there. Just anywhere where we can add a little bit of toe movement, and so we can keep this as close to peeled onto this pipe as we can. It's going to just help sell our idea there a little bit better. Should have a little bit of movement here. Set where it is there, there. There we go. Just feel like there could be a little bit of movement still. So it doesn't just lock into place there. Same with this one, probably. Just a little bit. Let's see. The other foot there in a second. See if there's any little bit of toe that we can add on there to help it feel like it's peeling on or peeled around that pipe, since we really can't get a fully fleshed foot to go on there. Kind of have to make do with what we have. Alright, how are we doing on time? We're doing fine. Okay. Feels fine. This one, I think we might actually do a little bit of rotate here. Try to get that intersection between that foot and that pipe not to be so much. Got rid of this one. So we go a little bit forward, a little bit up, so we could transition there a little bit better, I think. That should be over, I think, a little bit in X. I'll try and get a little bit of an arc in there. it's fine there, but it just feels like it holds this. So set 41 and 39. I'll delete that one. Try and bring it forward just a little bit more. That feels better as it rounds the edge of that pipe. And let's see. Let's keep cleaning this up. Just like right here, we have a little bit, which we can probably pull up out of the till. Maybe translate Y. There we go. I think we approached this before. We chose that because of the knee, so we might roll back to where we were there before, but the foot spacing feels off there too. Yeah, I think I'll favor the knee in this case than the foot spacing, just so that we don't get that knee pop that was sticking there. Spacing in the foot isn't perfect here though. Kind of holds back to favor these beginning poses and then pulls forward. But in order to save us from getting a really bad knee pop where the knee juts one direction in one frame and then another direction in another frame, I'll go ahead and leave that spacing issue in the foot there. Sometimes you have to figure out which is going to be the bigger mistake and err in the smaller mistake while still leaving one in there. Or you can always just redo the whole pose and everything too. It depends on what you're going for. But I think in this case, we'll deal with this little bit of spacing hitch on this foot there. You see it kind of holds in universal space here a little bit more than jumps forward there. So you've got like, it's pretty even, consistent movement, and it holds at like 48, 49, at 50. I think it's okay too, because transitioning into when it's raising, so I don't think it's going to be as big of a problem, but I still think that would probably be something that would be one of those, spend 10 or 15 minutes just cleaning that up, and I think I'll avoid that for now. I don't know that would be that interesting to watch. So let's keep tweaking this till here. Curve it so it feels like it's curving along the pipe there. go and watch it. Oh, no, I feel like that's a fairly good pass on those feet. I feel like they're a little more planted on that pole. We don't really have too many intersections or anything going on, where it's clipping into the pole itself. So I think this might be the last day that we work on this shot, and we'll work on a different shot tomorrow. I think above and beyond this, it would just be going through and really polishing all of our graphs and everything, which I might do. We might do one more part on this one. Actually, you know what? I don't think I did too much on the shoulders, so let's do a little bit on the shoulders here. Just go ahead and key it where the forearm is, and just so we get a rough timing pass there. And again, it's not something we need a lot of, but just a little bit. Okay, and let's look. Let's taper off the ending there a little bit more. Let's just see how that feels. Okay, yeah, let's take everything and push it forward a frame so it kind of leads the movement, maybe even 2 frames. Let's see. Let's push it 2 frames, and then let's just scale everything down about 20% there too. Okay. So now we're just going to scale everything back about 20 or 30%. Like I said, just loosens up those shoulders a little bit more. Let's watch it again. Okay, and let's go ahead and grab this shoulder, and we'll key it with the timing of this arm here. So we'll just punch in just so we get a rough timing pass here based on the movement of the arm. Shoulder. A little bit down. Actually, no, this should be down. It should be up. Up and down. Up. Down. Down. Up. we still want to keep in the integrity of our silhouettes and everything too. And back. Okay. And let's see if we can get that to work a little better for us here. Let's see. Feels fine. Let's push it forward a couple of frames so it leads everything. And I feel like it's a little too up high on some of these moves here. Right there, that feels a little high. Alright, so let's look at that now. This one especially feels a little too high. I feel like this one could be higher there. Still try and keep our silhouettes intact here. Okay, and then let's take a look at this portion of the hand right here. So let's take that index and we'll lead that by a frame here. And we'll have the pinky follow. And we'll have the thumb be a couple frames behind there too. Just so everything's not hitting all at the same frame for closing that fist. Alright, now let's look here. And let's do something similar here. So we'll take the index and we'll push it forward a frame here. And the little. Push it back a couple of frames. And the thumb. Hit it back a frame there too. Just that's an interesting, more interesting than everything going. So we get a little bit of this. But actually I think we're doing it inverse, where the index would lead. A lot of times the pinky would. I kind of like it though. We'll keep it. It's more more stylized, I guess. Yeah, let's see if there's another couple of fun things we can do pretty quick, because I think we're hitting right about our time. could probably, just a real quick one, just take the index finger here, just towards the end, and we'll lead it a frame, and we'll delay it a frame, just so we get a little bit of variation on that settle. So all the fingers aren't hitting right at the same. And let's look here. Let's do the index. Forward frame. And the little delayed frame. So it kind of leads the movement there and follows. I think that'll do for today. We might do one more day with this one, but I'm thinking we'll probably move on to one of two things. Either want to do a two-person attack, or we have like a fight between two people. I think that would be fun to do, but that might be a really long series, so I'm not sure. And I know we've been wanting to do some lip sync, but I don't know that I have a great quote that I want to play around with for lip sync just yet. So we'll probably do one of those two ideas. It'll either be tomorrow or the next day. So let's take a look back at where we started. We were looking at the beautiful work of Ivan Punchatz. Probably saying that wrong. Let me know. Comments down below. And he said, never, no matter what it is, take anything personally. I think that's a great mentality to have as someone who's creative, to not be too attached to your work, and not to take things personally just because someone might not like your stuff. It might not be because you're an awful person, you're a horrible person or anything. It's just that that's not their aesthetic, or they had a bad experience in their life with something that was similar to this, or they just are in a grumpy mood, or they're having a bad day or anything, and it's nothing about you as an individual, because I think you're great. I love you guys lots. You're amazing. And I hope that you're taking another step in your journey towards mastering whatever medium it is that you're passionate about. And thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for all the likes and subscribes. I hope you guys enjoyed this little pipe slide one. I think this was definitely nothing that I've really done something exactly like this before, so this was a fun little challenge for myself as well. And I think we learned, in especially in those first couple ones, I feel like there's some rough grit in there that we were able to push past and get at least something workable on the idea out of it. So yeah, I think that'll wrap it up before I ramble on for too long. Thanks again for all the likes and subscribes. You guys are amazing. I love you lots. And I guess that'll do it. So we will see you for some more animation tomorrow.